Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so our listeners' random selection process has thrown up quite an interesting mix today. We've got 2 Corinthians 4.1, then 2 John 1.12, and, well, back again, the book of Enoch, this time 10.19. So our mission today is really to figure out why these three, what's the thread connecting them. We're looking for insights on, divine action, how we respond, and this big idea of future hope.
Exactly. And Enoch showing up again, I don't think that's just chance. It feels like a pointer maybe hinting at how these different texts actually fit together in a really significant way.
Okay, let's dive into the first one then. 2 Corinthians 4.1. Paul says, "Therefore, having this ministry by the mercy of God, we do not lose heart." That sounds powerful, especially for anyone doing, well, difficult work. What's the core idea he's getting at about strength?
Right. It's not just, keep your chin up. Paul's framing it differently. He's saying God's mercy isn't just the starting point. It's the ongoing fuel for the ministry. It's what keeps them from losing heart. And then he brings in this striking image later, this treasure in earthen vessels.
Ah, yeah, that contrast.
Exactly. It's a paradox, right? The divine power isn't just working in spite of human weakness. It's actually revealed through it. Our fragility becomes the very place where God's power is most obvious. It makes sure God gets the credit, not us.
So it's less about trying harder and more about, I guess, being open to letting God's strength work through our human messiness. That feels quite liberating, doesn't it? Takes the pressure off a bit.
Absolutely. Totally reframes where confidence comes from. And that idea of divine power working beyond our limits, it actually connects quite nicely to our next text. It also kind of challenges how we think about connection.
That's a neat link. So 2 John 1.12. John, who wrote so much, right? Letters, Gospels. He says something pretty surprising here. He basically says, I have a lot to write, but I'd rather not use paper and ink.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I hope to come see you and talk face to face so our joy can be complete. In our world of texts and emails, why is he pushing for an actual visit?
It's a really powerful point he's making. I mean, here's a master communicator with the written word. And yet he prioritizes mouth-to-mouth, face-to-face interaction over paper and ink. Why? For complete joy.
Mm.
He's suggesting that even the best written words, the clearest information, can't fully replace actually being with someone.
So presence itself has a unique power.
That seems to be it. There's a depth, a fullness of joy, and maybe even understanding that only comes from that direct, embodied, relational connection. It implies that real community, real shared joy sometimes needs that costly investment of actually showing up.
That really hits home today, I think. With everything being so virtual, it makes you wonder what subtle things we lose when we only connect through screens or text.
It does. It's definitely a challenge to think about the quality, not just the quantity, of our connections.
Okay, and now, the text that keeps coming back. Enoch 10.1. It's fascinating how this keeps appearing for our listener. So if Paul showed God's power in human weakness and John showed it in deep personal connection, Enoch seems to take it to a whole other level, doesn't it? Cosmic power. What's the vision here?
Oh, it's huge. This passage is describing the earth after a divine judgment and cleansing, a renewed earth. And it says things like, all desirable trees shall be planted. The vine shall yield wine in abundance. Each measure shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil.
Wow, okay, 1,000-fold yield, 10 presses. That's not just a good harvest.
Exactly. That's the point. It's hyperbolic. It's way beyond natural possibility. This is painting a picture of divine restoration that doesn't just fix things, it makes them unbelievably supernaturally abundant, like Eden, but maybe even better. It's showcasing God's absolute power to remake creation itself. And, it's worth remembering that texts like Enoch were influential for some New Testament writers like Jude and Peter. Right. So, okay, let's try and connect these dots. We have Paul on ministry and weakness, John on the deep value of face-to-face fellowship for joy, and Enoch with this incredible vision of cosmic renewal and abundance. What's the big picture here? What's the surprising thread weaving through these?
Well, when you put them side by side, a really strong theme emerges, I think. It's this idea of divine overcoming of limitations, consistently. Whether it's God's power showing up because of human limits, like Paul described, or whether it's the way true, complete joy can transcend the limits of distance, needing that face-to-face connection John talks about. Or, on the grandest scale, God's power completely overcoming the natural limits of creation itself, like in Enoch.
Ah, okay. So God's power isn't just present, it's actively breaking through barriers. Human barriers, relational barriers, even natural ones.
Precisely. It's a consistent demonstration of God's ability to work beyond any obstacle we might perceive. And the fact that Enoch keeps reappearing, it really seems to anchor this theme, pointing towards that ultimate divine action, that final justice and renewal. That's fascinating, seeing how these seemingly very different texts can actually build on each other to tell this larger story about divine power, divine purpose, stretching from our personal lives right out to the cosmos.
Indeed, it really brings it all together. And maybe that leaves us with a question for you, the listener, to think about. How might understanding God's mercy this way, valuing that deep connection, and trusting in God's power to overcome limitations, how might that actually shape your own perspective or even your actions starting today?